Welcome to chapter 3, Lord willing. It is taken out of Matthew 8:2, and the reason why I'm so excited to share with you guys through this chapter specifically is because it's something that I still walk through and was really walking through when I wrote it. So, I jump to page 29 all the time and look at truth versus lie, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But the reason why God, I believe, led me to the leper in Matthew was because God did so much more than just physically heal him when he said, Lord, if you are willing, make me clean. Of course, the Lord's willing. It was about him. And when the leper went to him and he was finally believing that God would make him clean, he told him to go back to the places that obviously he's not going to want to go, but back to the priests and back to the synagogue where he was an outcast of society. He was deemed unclean specifically by those people. So what God is doing is he's taking the worst parts of this man's rejection and asking him to go to the people that deemed him unclean to deem him clean again. So yeah, it's so powerful. If you just sit down, I ask you to read all of that chapter because Matthew 8 is super impactful about rejection and how God doesn't stop at just one little portion of our rejection, but he'll make sure that we're healed all the way through. I talk about pain a lot in this chapter. And so when you're either teaching this or reading this through yourself, guys, don't jump through and just read it really fast. I really want you to sit in where you can find yourself inside this leper. Where is God healing you mentally, emotionally, physically? Because the truth is, when you're rejected, it actually takes a toll on you all the way through. It doesn't just happen in your mind. It doesn't just happen, in your spirit. It doesn't just happen in your body. It happens all the way through you. It's who we are. Because what rejection does is it specifically targets our identities. And so if the enemy can use that spirit of rejection to rip down our identity, he can get a hold of us. He can get a hold of us in our mind, which takes a hold of our life. He can get a hold of us in our bodies. Like I shared with you guys before, I was a stick. I was so tiny when I was going through the worst part of my healing, like my pain and my healing, because I was sick. I was really hurt, and you could see it on the outside just as much as in the inside. So, all right, I want to jump a little bit in past that story and talk to you about truth. And the truth is, God redeemed my life from my past marriage and the rejection of my ex-husband. And I even say on 26, God redeemed my life. And when I wrote that, I was like, do I tell them yet? But yes, God redeemed my life with an amazing man, an amazing family. And I am walking every day in a promise that God has redeemed my life. And it is something that I couldn't even wait till the end, because I wanted you to realize that, there's good coming for you. There is good coming for you. Not just because it came from me, but because you serve a God who's better than your situation. God redeemed my life. I say that because even though God redeemed my life and I'm living in a promise, it doesn't mean that I still don't feel rejection. When we got married, I had some things happen where I felt very rejected all over again. And Skylar had to walk with me through past pain being brought up in our present day situation. And I had a trigger after trigger after trigger mentally, and it wreaked havoc on our marriage, and it wreaked havoc on me. I had a couple years where I was in the process of going through postpartum depression as well, being away from my family because I don't actually live in the same state as my side of the family. And then the enemy just tried to take me out with rejection all over again and tell me, I wasn't enough. And isn't that just like him? The enemy does not have any new lies. He just has a new generation to tell him to. And the enemy just keeps trying to do the same old things over and over and over again. And it wasn't until a couple years in which is way too long, a couple years in, that I finally realized what he was doing, what the enemy was trying to do. And he was trying to take out me and my family again. And he was trying to do it through my brain. So this time you couldn't tell on the outside as much that I was hurting, but if you got close to me, you knew, like, very badly I was hurting. So I shut out most of the world for a while again. And the enemy often, when we go through rejection, when we go through pain, when we don't feel like we're enough, we retreat into isolation, because if he can get us alone, he can attack us. Do not stay alone. Where did he have the leper go? He had him go into public. He had the leper be declared clean in front of people. So it's very important. Do not stay by yourself and hold in all your pain. You need to have somewhere and somebody to go to. I look back on Joseph and I talk about how his plan failed, but the Lord is willing to heal him. Joseph's life, like I said before, didn't turn out the same, or it didn't turn out the way that he thought it would in his mind, and the same as he thought it should. But God was still faithful to Joseph. And the enemy tried to get Joseph time and time and time again to back away from his faith. And he didn't succeed. And he's not going to succeed with you either, because you're here. So the enemy is not personally strategic. I say that. And at first when I read it, I was like, what are you talking about? Chrissy, like, what? And I started to really pray about that and sit in that when I heard it. And he's not personally strategic, y'all. He knows you, but like, he is just the same old lies. I have sat down with couple after couple, individual after individual over the last 10 years, and I hear the same story. It is almost like people sit in front of me and tell me my story in their life from their perspective. I can almost tell you like this planned out agenda of the enemy when going through an affair and a divorce. What does he tell the person on both sides? What do you hear? And so it is verbatim, almost identical. That is not a coincidence. He just has no new lies. So he just has somebody else that he's telling them to, and you think you're the only one to hear them, but you're not the only one. So let's just break down what the enemy has used for ages, call him out for his junk, and make him give it all back. That's what this chapter is about. So I want you to turn to page 29, because I am going to break down each of these lies and I'm going to walk you through them. And I want to speak aloud the truths. All right, here we go. Lie. If only I was a little different, maybe they would have liked me more, or maybe they wouldn't have left. Let me tell you, this is the lie I heard. Maybe if I was just somebody different. Maybe if I was that other person. Maybe if I was that other girl, he wouldn't have left. Lie. Lie. Because he left her too. So it's a lie. The truth is, it wouldn't matter if you were someone else. They chose sin. And there is no justification for sinful actions. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light. 1 Peter 2:9. John 15:16. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you. God is speaking that over you. So it wouldn't matter who you are. It doesn't change the fact that someone chose sin. It was really difficult for me to hear this, but their sin isn't personal to you. Their sin is something they're dealing with. So that's something to let sink in. Lie. I am not loved. Oh boy, this one I heard a lot. They don't love me. They don't love me enough. They don't, like, I'll never be loved. If they left, how could I be loved? Like, I heard all these things in my head, and that's a lie. The truth is, I'm loved. You're loved. Song of Songs 2:4 says, his banner over us is love. Come on. Like, let's just break down the enemy's lies right there. Zephaniah 3:17, the Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Man, I love that. Lie. I can never again trust myself or others. Okay, so for a really long time, the lie that I would hear is that I wasn't trustworthy. Like, I couldn't trust my own decisions because obviously it got me to where I am today. And like, this was years ago, I used to think this. So it got me to the situation I'm in. So I obviously can't trust my decision in men. I can't trust my decision in people. I can't trust my decisions in relationships. That's so not true. That's so not true. It wasn't just my decision. It was somebody else. And I had no idea that was coming. I had no idea the hidden sin that my ex-husband dealt with and the things that he really struggled with. I didn't know that. And I didn't know how to help him. So the truth is, God is trustworthy. And when you focus on him and trust in him, he will give you the confidence you need to trust your choices. When you are truly focusing on the Lord, I know that I can tell you, I believed wholeheartedly that there was a promise and I held to it, that I was to never leave my ex-husband, and I was served divorce papers. So there's certain things in my life and our lives that don't always plan out the way that we think, but let me tell you, God is trustworthy. His plans are trustworthy. When you focus on him, he will show you exactly what to do. Truth, God is trustworthy. All right, 1 Corinthians 6:20, you are bought at a price. 1 Corinthians 1:30, it is because of him, you are in Christ Jesus, who has become for us wisdom from God. That is our righteousness, holiness, and redemption. Colossians 2:10, and you have been filled with him, who is the head of all rule and authority. If you have accepted God as your Savior and you surrender your life to him, yes, life doesn't always turn out the way that we think. However, God is always trustworthy. Always, no matter the situation, no matter what is happening, no matter what is going on. Okay, next lie. God is not trustworthy. He knew what would happen and still let me go through the pain. I got stuck here forever. Let me tell you guys, I didn't believe that God was trustworthy for a really long time. And I remember I was in a parking lot getting ready to go run, because I don't run, but it was the only way I could get out of my head, because I hated it so much that I would focus on it. And I would run this tennis court. And every morning I would run like 5 miles around this tennis court. And finally one day I broke and I started punching the tennis court. Yeah, surprised I didn't break my hands because they're little. So maybe my punch just isn't that hard. But I was punching this tennis court and God said, do you not trust me? And I said, no, I don't. You knew it was going to happen and you still let me go through it. I love you. I have been serving you, and here I am, and you let me get here, and you knew it. You knew it, and you still let me make the decision. You still let me. And he said, I'm so glad you were honest with me. Now we can move forward. What? That was my breakthrough with God. When I was finally honest with him and I told him, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm struggling with. This hurts. I don't trust you right now. How am I supposed to go forward? Truth. God is trustworthy. Psalm 33:4. For the word of the Lord is upright, and all his work is done in faithfulness. Psalm 9:10. Those who know my name trust in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. And when I realized that he never left me, that someone else's decision affected my life, he knew it. However, he didn't leave me. And he had better plans for me. I just didn't know it. He was faithful. Lie. I am not wanted. The truth is you are. I am wanted. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people and treasure. Deuteronomy 7:6. There's more, but I'm going to keep going. Lie. I am replaceable. Forever I thought that no matter who would say that they love me, that I would always be replaceable to somebody. I would always be replaceable. Let me just tell you something. I am not replaceable to my children. I am not replaceable to my husband, who genuinely loves me. And I know that people make bad decisions and sometimes don't think with a right mind, but I'm not replaceable. There's only one you, and you are irreplaceable. There is only one you. You made me, you created me. Psalm 119. Lie. I will never be enough. Now, you guys, this is last because this is something that I did not conquer. And honestly, I don't even know if I fully conquered. I'm still in a learning process because we're all in a working out of our salvation, right? I constantly felt like I just wasn't enough, that I wasn't enough in every area of my life. Once my ex-husband left me for somebody else, I just felt like I would never be enough for anyone, that somebody would always just want somebody else. And then it just bled into my life and seeped in. So the truth is, Jesus determined your worth. You're enough. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Psalm 139:16. The Lord's willing. He's willing to heal you. Just like the leper said, Lord, are you willing? Yes, he's willing. But he's not going to heal you partially. He's going to heal you fully. Mind, body, and spirit. So get ready. Here are the 3 questions for today. In what areas do you need healing? Please be specific. Write them out. Number 2, what are the lies you are believing? If you have to do what I did and write out the truth and the lie, please do so. In fact, it does say write out the truth instead of the lie, which is number 3. But I really, really want you to think about this. And if you are drawing a blank, it's okay. I want you to spend some time with the Lord until you have the answer. Because if something's plaguing you, there's probably a lie that might be deep embedded inside of you. I did not realize that I believed I wasn't enough, even inside of my marriage with Skylar. There are days where I would just say to him, I'll never be enough. And I'd stop and I'm like, it's not true. That's not truth. I am enough. But I'm not enough just because I am. I'm enough because of Christ. It's because of what Jesus does in you. You're enough with Jesus. So, friends, I'm going to pray over you. And I hope that when you finish chapter 3, that you are set free. Lord, please heal the hearts and minds of your people from any past or present rejection in their life. Reveal every lie that has been trying to cover itself as truth and bring it to light. Speak truth over them and allow your word to heal them today. I pray you would reach deep into your beloved and heal the deep wounds they may not even know that are there, just like you did for the man with leprosy. Let no stone be unturned today. We trust you, and when it may not make sense, remind us to rest in the truth that you have our best interests in mind and that you love us. Amen. Thanks, guys. I can't wait. Stay tuned for chapter 4.